Hello everyone, ChartSync here, and today is March 17th, 2025, and we are going to do some real basic top-down analysis of the Bitcoin price chart. So let's get into it. This is TradingView. I'm using a separate from my personal account, one that doesn't have any added indicators or paid memberships. So if you're using the free version of it, you can follow along and not have to worry about using all the fancy indicators that I use for my personal trading account on TradingView. So when you open up Bitcoin, I would always recommend when you're doing like real long range technical analysis to use the pair that's found on Bitstamp up here. Bitstamp, I believe, and I could be wrong, you can correct me in the comments, Bitstamp has been keeping track of the Bitcoin price, I believe, longer than any other exchange. Could be wrong about that. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments and I will correct myself. So when you open up the chart in TradingView up here, it's tradingview.com, this is what you'll look at. And if I bring your attention up here to this D, what that stands for is 1 day. You could see right there. So these are the time frames you're looking at. So each candle, right, represents 1 day. So I want to change that. So what we want to do is we want to go to the higher time frames. Higher time frames are anything above 4 hours and above, I believe, is the typical standard in trading. So we want to start with the highest time frames. And this is, again, this is just basically finding the biggest areas of support and resistance. And if you don't know what that means, just follow along and you'll see. So what I want to do is first I want to switch from 1 day. I want to go as high as possible. Well, maybe not as high as possible, but I want to go to the 1 month. This is typically where I start. So I go to the 1 month time frame. So that means each of these candles, let me make it bigger. I'll get rid of the volume for you guys so it's a little more clear. So each of these candles represents 1 month. If you see, I'm hovering over it, and then if you look down here, it'll tell you, which month. So that's, Friday, November 1st, 2024. We go back here to this big green one. That's February 2024. So what we want to do is, starting from right to left, we want to find areas where the candles open and closed at about the same level. You see these two candles are right next to each other, and at the top, they're basically at the same level. So that is an area of resistance, meaning that the price went up and it got resisted and it came back down. Support is just the opposite. So like down here, if we look down here in the lower left, price was coming down. It didn't want to come down any further, so it bounced off this level of support. So when it bounces and goes back up, we can call that a level of support. When we have two candles next to each other that are at the same level, that's a support going upward. And here, for example, and here, we have two candles next to each other in an upward trend that got rejected from going up. So that's resistance, and that's where you get the terms support and resistance. So anyways, so moving on. So what we want to do is we want to find sticking points, because these are going to be levels where we find price reaction, where price either gets rejected or it finds a bounce. So right here, we have a level of resistance, and I want to mark that. So on my keyboard, I'm going to hold down I'm going to put this, this line right here, right there. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and hit H. And Alt plus H essentially just draws a horizontal line. Boom, like that. So now you can see we have a horizontal line. And when you do that, this little thing pops up. You can change the text. You could say, whatever. You can go over here. You can, the color. You can do all this stuff. You can go over here to the settings. You can actually write yourself a note. You know what I mean? Hi, whatever. And then you can actually change where that is. I usually like to put these on the top of the line and then over to the right. That way the text appears over here. But I'm not going to write the text, do all that just now. This is really just, I want to show you guys the level of support and resistance that we're finding from the higher time frames going down to the lower time frames. So that's one area of resistance, right? So that's a monthly area of resistance. See, there's another one right here. See these two candles? That means that price stayed at this basic level for quite some time, right? So we want to mark that as well. So do that. It's another area of resistance. And then let's get this one right here. See, I'm looking at these two candles right here. See, it's resistance, resistance, and then over here on this candle, it almost went to that same level again and then got rejected again, and then it eventually broke through. But it's still a relevant level, just not as strong. And we'll get to that later. So that's another one. See, this is a strong area of support right here. You see price came down here, down here, down here, wicked here, came down a little bit further here. So I would say right about here. The most recent is usually the strongest. So like if this was the area before these 3 candles in a row, practically all at the same level, right? Tried to break through, didn't work. Tried to break through, didn't work. Tried to break through, it did work, and it actually closed down here and it stayed here. So because these wicks over here actually reach down to this line right here, I'm going to go ahead and put the line right here. Okay, so that's as low as we need to go. I don't think price is going to go below 58,000. So next, what we do, bring your attention back up here to these time frames. Let's go to the weekly. So if we scroll down here to the 1 week, and we look for more. So remember, these are the monthly lines that we drew that are here in blue, right? So you could see, you know, this price level was respected. This, you know, a lot of price action here in this area. Not seeing much down here, but then this bottom one, we see all that support we were looking at the higher time frame. We could see it in more higher resolution, more granularity. So anyways, what I want to do here is I want to draw some more lines. So there's a weekly level right here, because you see these 2 candles right here. So I want to mark that off, Alt H, and I'm going to make this a different color. So let me make this, let's see, what should we make this? Let's make this a yellow. Yellow, and it's a little too thick. There we go. Make it thinner, so it's 1 pixel. So that's a level there. And see, we got this a lot of support right here. Price came down, went up, down, up, down, up. So it kind of, as it ranged here, it kept bouncing off this general area right here. So I'm going to mark my line right here with these 2 candles. Okay. If we come down here most recently, look, there's a little bit of support right here on the weekly. These 2 candles right here. Price came all the way down here, got a bounce, went up, came down here, got a bounce again right there. And this is where we're currently at. So I'm going to mark this level right here at 80,000 as a place of weekly support. This little green line right here is just the current price. So we're not paying much attention to that right here. So look at, here's some interesting support and resistance. So price was down here. It came up, got rejected, came down, came up again, got rejected, came down, came up here, got rejected again, and then just went down here to this monthly level of support that we drew, right? Kind of came up a little bit, came up a little bit. It kind of ranged here for a while, and then it went right back up. Guess where it went? Almost right where we see these 3 candles were hanging out for a while. See, these are sticking points. When price stays at a certain level like this for a long time, that's how you mark your levels of support and resistance. And these are really good. These are most of what you want to learn in technical analysis revolves around support and resistance. Maybe I shouldn't say most, but a lot of it. That support and resistance are just a recurring, very foundational, basic concept that we use in trading. So right here, price found a sticking point, right? For 3 weeks, it couldn't get above here. Then it ranged, and then it finally did break above there. But look, as it was meeting this resistance right here, it came back up. But then before it went up here, it found that same level as an area of support, meaning that it flipped from a resistance into a support. And this happens often. You'll actually hear this term very often: support flipped into resistance, or resistance flipped into support. So anyways, this ended up becoming support, and then it bounced. So I'm going to mark this level right here because it was resistance right here, and now it's support. I don't think price is going to come down this low for Bitcoin. Just a heads up. This is just a video about finding support and resistance. So I'm going to mark that one. And that's a good weekly level right there. You can see this right here, but it's close enough to this one, and that's why I went with this one, because it's the more recent of the sticking point on the weekly. Now let's go to the daily. Let's go down to the 1 day. This is the 1 day chart. So 1 day chart, more granular. We could see a lot of different levels. We could see this level right here. So between this monthly line, look at this monthly line. It turned out that, I mean, look how long price ranged just in this area right here. Several days, maybe, I don't know, was that almost 2 weeks? And then the yellow line is our weekly support and resistance levels. So there's another resistance level right here. This is a daily level. See, it kind of seems like it was right here. And then it kind of went up a little bit. So you can imagine when price starts traveling upward again, we might find a little bit of resistance at this $98,000 level. So I'm going to mark that one. All right, if I can get it. Alt H, and since this is daily, let's change the color again. Let's make it I don't know, let's make it orange. Should we make it orange? No, doesn't really pop. There we go. Let's just do green. So green is the daily, and you could do whatever color you want. I actually don't use these colors at all, but it's just I want these colors to stand out and pop in the video so you can actually see really well. I typically use like dark gray lines for this type of stuff because I end up drawing other lines and other things when I get further into my technical analysis. But we'll cover that later. But for the purposes of this video, I'm using blue, yellow, green because they pop. You know what I mean? You could see them really well. Use whatever colors you want. So bring your attention back down here to this yellow line. We drew a weekly level right here. But if you remember, this was a big event in Bitcoin where the price just went way up and then just shot way back down. I actually took a short trade right here. We'll go over that later. But anyways, this weekly level turns out to also be a daily level. So that's very important. When you have, multiple time frames pointing to a level like this, that means this area of support and resistance is strong. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that, even though it's going to be hard to see, because I want myself to know that this is both a weekly and a daily level. So I would be eyeballing this. When price comes up to this $94,000 level, we're going to meet some resistance, which means that when we get up to this level, it might go past a little bit for a little while, but there's a better chance that it's going to come back down to its next level of support. So speaking of support, let's check this out right here. So we have 4 days in a row. Price could not come below 84,000, even though it tried. So this is a strong daily support level. But if you look over here to the right, it became resistance because then price hasn't been able to go above there. And this is all happening in real time. Like this is the price right now. So this is actually a really good current level of support that has flipped into resistance, it looks like. So we need to get back above here for this not to be resistance anymore. But for now, it's both support and resistance. So I'm going to mark this as a level. Alt H, and there you go. There's another level right there. You can call this a level of support, 78,000. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that because of these two candles right here. Alt H. And let's see here. Look at that. See, this level that we just spoke about, this resistance level, was a support level for a lot of days right here in this whole range that we were in. So is this level right here. And look, price wicked up to right about there and then got shot back down. Why? Because this support here, I'm going to draw this out for you guys. Let me get my drawing tool out. Seeing the brush on the left. See right here? Boom. Support. Came down here. Support. And then it wicked down here, bounced back up because of that support. And then over here, you see this wick. It came here briefly and went right back up. Then over here, more recently, that support level, that same exact line, almost the same exact line, became resistance. So it flipped from support and now it's resistance, right? So now that's a resistance level. That's how we mark support and resistance. Get rid of these. So there's more we can mark here, but I don't want this video to be too long. So that's how we find support and resistance. It's one quick thing I want to tell you about trading, and this took me a while to learn, so I want to share it with you guys. When you're trading, the trend is your friend. You'll hear this term quite often. And that's true. You want to pay attention to the trends. Like, it would have been great if you could have gotten to a trade right here and then just rode that all the way up. But oftentimes, especially new traders, they're always trying to, enter in their trade right before a big move. And that's not what you want to trade. See, you don't want to trade trends, right? I mean, if you happen to be in a trade, fine. What you want to trade are ranges. So when I talk about ranges, I'm talking about this right here. So let me get my brush tool back out. You see this area right here, right? Look how much time we spent in this. This is a range, right? This right here going upward, this is a trend, right? This area right here, this is the trend. This is the range. Now, if you look at this for a second, as traders, what you want is you want to buy the top, or sorry, never buy the top, my mistake. You want to buy the bottom, buy when the price is low, and then you want to sell when the price is high. Or in other words, you want to take a long position when price is low and a short position when prices are high. But what we want to identify, and this is what eludes a lot of beginner traders, including myself for quite a while, is that you want to trade the range. Stop trying to focus so much on these big moves and these big trends and just focus on the range. Once you've noticed that price has made a range, you start trading the range. Because look, there's not too many trades you can get into here, right? And any trade in this trend going up is very, very risky. However, look how much time you spend in this range. In this range, we see March 2024 to November. This is almost a year. We were in this range right here. Right here. We were almost a year in this range. And look at all the trades. Once the range had been identified right here, it bounced off here. You could have been like short right here, taking profit right here. You could have put in another short right here because you're hitting that resistance area, and then down here it bounces down here again, and then you start to notice the range. Okay, well, I'm going to put in a long position here. You could have rode that all the way up here, taken profit here and taken a short, or opened up another short. This is a double top. You could have gotten a short right there, rode that all the way down, trade here. There's a trade here and a take profit there. There's a take profit and a trade there, and so on and so on. Look at all these trades within this range that you could have made by identifying the range. And this right here, this isn't a range. So those big moves are great. You know what I mean? If you would have taken a long position right here, you know what I mean? This is a double bottom, which is bullish. There's more that goes into making these kinds of decisions. But if you would have put in a long trade right here and stayed and went to sleep and then woke up the next day and suddenly your trade's all the way up here, then that's fine. You know, if you getting into these big trades, yeah, that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to get into one of these trades. However, if you focus on these ranges, you will be more profitable. And there's a much better chance that you will already be in a trade when these big moves are made in the price action. So that's something to keep in mind. Identify the range, trade the range, stop looking for the trend, stop looking for these explosive movements upward, and just try to focus on the range. Where is price ranging? And then you trade the tops and the bottoms of that range. I think that's it for this video. I just wanted to show you guys all support and resistance levels, how I find them on higher time frames. I'm going to make more videos about real basic free indicators that you can use. And just remember that any video I make and any chart that I show you in TradingView, I'm going to use the free version so that anybody can follow along, because I want you guys to learn this stuff. And I don't want to put up any paywalls or have any roadblocks to learning all this, because it's very important. And I want you guys to be successful. So again, I'm ChartSync. Like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next one.